As Colin Brown explained, the validity of the testimony to a claim that something happened depends upon the honesty, capacity not to be deceived, and proximity of the witnesses to the alleged event. Related to this comment, some skeptics have claimed Jesus' gullible disciples simply made up the resurrection story, so the Bible is a dishonest and deceptive tale we cannot trust. In response to these assertions, we must recognize the disciples admitted embarrassing facts within the New Testament, which would have been detrimental to their gospel-spreading cause. Among these admissions is a mention of women as the first to see the resurrected Christ. As J.P. Moreland noted, in first century Judaism, a woman's testimony was virtually worthless. A woman was not allowed to give testimony in a court of law except on rare occasions. No one would have invented a story and made women the first witnesses to the empty tomb. The presence of women was an embarrassment. Moreland's statement is bolstered by the following four accounts from the Talmud and Josephus, both early Jewish sources. Sooner let the words of the law be burnt than delivered to women. Happy is he whose children are males, and woe to him whose children are females. Any evidence which a woman gives is not valid, also they are not valid to offer, and let not the testimony of women be admitted on account of the levity and boldness of their sex, nor let servants be admitted to give testimony on the account of the ignobility of their soul, since it is probable they may not speak truth. If the disciples were trying to tell a convincing lie to the first century world, they certainly would not have indicated women were the first to proclaim Christ had risen, for this would have hurt their cause. The only good explanation for the referral to women as the first witnesses is the honest fact they were. The disciples also documented many embarrassing personal facts within the Gospels, including their desertion and nakedness during Jesus' arrest, Peter's 3 denials of Christ before the crucifixion, their cowardice following the crucifixion, as well as their misunderstanding of and unbelief in Jesus' resurrection. If the disciples were trying to spread a persuasive lie, they would have made men the first witnesses and portrayed themselves as great champions of the faith, not faithless cowards. If they were deceivers, they would have recorded information which made their story sound good, not bad. So, instead of weakening the force of their gospel claims, the mention of women witnesses and embarrassing personal accounts actually strengthens the validity of their declaration. The humiliating New Testament record exposes the amazing honesty of the disciples who did not change the details, even if they were detrimental. Since the disciples honestly reported awkward personal facts, we have further reason to believe they were trustworthy eyewitnesses of the resurrected Christ. The New Testament must be recognized as the disciples' sincere attempt to accurately record historical truth. Scholars have demonstrated first century Jewish males internalized large amounts of the Old Testament using a brilliant system of memorization techniques as part of their education. It has also been shown first century students hung on to and were able to accurately recall the doctrines of their teacher. The case for credibility of the gospel accounts is made even stronger when we realize it is likely many, if not all, New Testament authors had this memorization ability. If their memorization skills were not up to par, the many in the massive crowds that heard Christ speak, often including his spiritual enemies, surely possessed this ability, and some would have been motivated to discount the New Testament claims if they were not true. It is also important to recognize first century teachers often spoke in a poetic format to assist memorization. We have no reason to doubt Jesus conformed to this common mode of communication, especially since about 90% of his New Testament sayings are indeed poetic and thus easily memorizable. Additionally, both Jewish and Greco-Roman historical sources indicate notes were often taken when a prominent teacher spoke publicly. It is quite possible Jesus' disciples, and perhaps some of his skeptics, took these notes, so they were not relying entirely upon their good memories when they composed the New Testament. Such note-taking increases our confidence in the accuracy of the Gospel record. Further, scholars have shown first century Jews, including the Gospel writers, were quite concerned with truth and the accurate handling of God's authoritative teachings. The disciples would have undoubtedly been careful to record Jesus' original teachings since they were convinced he was God in the flesh. We have every reason to believe accounts within the well-memorized New Testament were faithfully recorded. Many skeptics believe apparent discrepancies among the gospel details as evidence these accounts are untrustworthy. In truth, there are no contradictions, and the four gospel accounts can be easily woven together to form a seamless narrative, as many have shown in the past. Further, the fact each gospel contains a slightly different, yet not contradictory set of details is actually positive evidence for reliability of the all-important gospel records, since it means each account was created individually through the independent eyes of each witness of Jesus' earthly ministry, resurrected body, and physical ascension. Since the New Testament writers did not all sit down together and conspire to write exactly identical stories, but rather produce separate accounts at separate times, we have powerful additional evidence each individual independently witnessed the same awesome events. We could possibly question the validity of only one account or four obviously copycat versions, but the combined force of four early, independent, and honest eyewitness accounts, coupled with a lack of conflicting reports from Jesus' many motivated enemy eyewitnesses, offers a towering case the Gospel writers really experienced what they describe.